All right, welcome to the next devlog. Since the last devlog, I kind of showed you some of the 3D stuff and tutorials I was following to kind of get my bearings and some other things that I was working on. And since then, this project that I've been working on with my friends has really started taking off. My buddy Graham has done all the art, and my buddy Alex has done the sound, and I've kind of been programming this thing and showing Graham how to program a little bit here and there, and it's really starting to take off and come together. So we've got uh, our initial scene as our main menu, and so you can select the class that you want, the weapon that you want to use, and your armor. And so the game's name is Ninth Life. And how it works is that you have like a regular 52 card deck, and the each deck has four suits. So whenever you choose a class, you get two suits for that class. Each class has two subclasses. So for warrior, it's lions and standards. And so you have like 10 of standards, jack of standards, ace of lions, etc. So you get two suits right there. You get your 2 through 10 and all your face cards for each of those suits, and then long blades is a suit, and your armor is a suit. And so by selecting these three options, you have the four suits that you need to combine your deck, and then you can start playing the game. So we can run this sucker up here, and we can go Flame Tongue, Long Blade, Light Armor for the example. And now we can hit play game. And now we have some cards in our hands, and we've got a slot for weapons, armors, our first class, and our second subclass. And so for Flame Tongue, it's Wax and Wix. And you proc abilities by gaining a total value of 10 in this stack. So we have a total value of 3 right here. And then we got a total value of 4 here. Then we can attack. And then so 7 plus 9 is greater than 10. So this is going to proc the light armor status effect. And both of the cards will go into the discard pile. And we haven't programmed the stack effects yet, but this would proc the stack effect, whatever it is for the light armor. And the way that these face cards work is they do better when you have proc stats. So you can't just start the game playing a bunch of face cards and kick some butt. You really need to work on procking your stats for these face cards so that these face cards can actually be effective. And then we've got this little attack mechanic. I rolled a 12 right there. So the enemy would draw a card, and if the value of that card was less than my 12, it would lose. But if the or it would win. So if the value is less than 12, then I win and I get to attack them. And then so long blade is my weapon here. And so since I chose long blade, my attack would be 7. And yeah, if it's greater than that, so the only way to beat a 12 is to do a face card. Face card's value is 20, so a face card will always win. So if they do a face card, my attack wouldn't go through and I wouldn't do any damage. But yeah, another thing that I worked on was a little display so that you can see the cards and the in play and the discard. You don't really need to see it so much for the normal suit stacks. We will have to figure out a way to display the total value of the stack. But yeah, the most that's going to be in here, the most that's possible is 4 cards, but it's usually 2 or 3 cards. But yeah, we haven't got the combat completely set up yet. So one thing that I have done is I set up this combat proof of concept. So I kind of had like a two-person turn combat system going there. But what I wanted was something more dynamic and something that could have more than two players. I wanted to have multiple allies and multiple enemies. So I went in here and I set this puppy up. And so each of them has a turn. Right now, I didn't do any AI. You can either attack or block the enemies, they just automatically block. But we can click attack and we can click one, and you can see I did 5 damage there. And so if they're blocking like this, my damage is reduced. So I only did 3 damage there because that one was blocking. But yeah, it rolls initiative at the very beginning, and by that initiative, it determines the turn order by who had the highest amount of initiative goes first. One thing that makes the Flame Tongue class so unique is they get a bonus in rolling initiative, so I made it so that the Flame Tongues could have that bonus that they get. And yeah, this was actually really fun. I ran into a lot of really fun and interesting bugs. Um, Whenever I would attack an enemy, I would end up attacking myself. And so that was really interesting to solve. It's very interesting because we have like just a list of things, and so I click this attack button, and now I've got attack mode on. All the attackable enemies are highlighted, and basically what I was doing was whenever I would click on this enemy, um, that I was triggering the event on myself and not on the enemy. And so I had to figure out how to point it at the enemy instead of here, because it just gets a little loop around with all of that. But yeah, now that I got all of that stuff out of the way, the next place to go is to fix a little bug. And so if we come back to our main combat scene, let's do Warrior Longblade Heavy Armor. Uh, Whenever I click, so I'm hovering over the card. Actually, I'm going to attack and hover over the cards. Now that I'm hovering over the cards, let's see. Oh yeah, of course it's not doing it whenever I try and show. Here. So I'm clicking this and it's not working. And so if I unhover and I rehover, it now clicks. Um, that's kind of an annoying bug. And so you can see what we did is we used a bunch of uh, collision boxes for the click events, and the collision boxes are not good for click events. Whenever you have multiple collision boxes that are stacked on top of each other and you click, it clicks all of those at once. So we had to write a workaround so that you didn't click them all at once. It only clicked the one that was on top. And that was annoying and a pain in the butt. And now we're running into this issue. And so what I'm thinking is going to help us solve this problem is if we come here to our combat POC actually, which component is this? It's our player POC. We have this combat button right here. The combat button is a much better for click events. So if I run our combat POC scene, I can also activate attack mode by pressing space. So I'm going to hover over this. The button is invisible, and whenever I press space, the button will become invisible and my mouse will already be over it, and I click on it and it works without anything. Also, I went and I did a test. So I went and I overlapped one of my enemies on top of the other, and I made sure that my cursor was on both enemies at the same time. I clicked it, and it only affected the button that was on top. So what I need to do now is I need to come in here and I need to refactor and get rid of all of these collision shapes and replace them with texture buttons. And it's just a texture button with literally no texture in it, so it's invisible. Uh, in this little player POC that I created, you can see that I have this color rect that I put behind it for an outline. It's just a cheap way to get an outline. But yeah, we can find other ways to signify that this button is clickable. And we can even use the texture button. If we come over here to the texture button, we have different textures for the different states. So we can, you know, do a different overlay if we want. The options are really endless, so we'll talk about it as a team and figure out what we want. Graham is our art designer, so I'm sure he has a bunch of really beautiful ideas on how to handle these events. But yeah, this is what we've been working on and been kind of going on this project full tilt. It's called Ninth Life, and I will share our link tree in the Discord below, and or not at the Discord below, the description below. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate y'all, and if you made it this far, heck yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe, and let me know in the comments what you think. Let me know if you want to see any kind of tutorials on how to set a turn-based system up like this. I mean, you can use this is like the base for a lot of any turn-based game. So if you're into JRPGs and you want to kind of play around with that, uh, I would definitely work for that. And the card fan was definitely a very interesting thing to solve. So actually, we can come in here. Where is it? The hand. So yeah, the position cards is a very interesting thing. So our hand count is 5 right here. I can put it to something crazy like 25. And when we come here, you can see that they overlap a little bit. Um, so yeah, that was interesting thing to solve that actually kind of racked my brain there for a bit. But yeah, I could go over the kind of card fan. We got some tweens in here, so everything looks nice and smooth as the cards are moving around the board. But yeah, let me know. Thank you so much for watching. Cheers.